Today is the Khalifa. Is the Khalifa of the world. They're ruling. They are ruling from the back. As I can see today that the devil is ruling. And all of those who are apparently leaders, presidents or kings, in a way or another, there is an influence over them. Not only on them, even on the celebrities. Okay? They put pressures on them to comply to them, to comply to their movements. So this is a demonic lobby. You may call it demonic lobby. In a devil lobby, devil influential organization. We have to tell this brother, excuse me, you have to tell the sisters, because I can hear it. Ready now? Yalla. Bismillah. So I can't start until you're quiet, please. We told the sisters to be quiet, so you have to be quiet as well, please. Okay? Alhamdulillah. Sallallahu wasallam ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We're reading some passages or questions from the book which is called خُذْ عَقِيدَتَكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ. Take your doctrine from the book and the sunnah. What is the meaning of Aqidah, as the brother was asking? Aqidah is the source of i'taqada, sets of beliefs that a person, he committed himself to. Okay? It's a set of beliefs that he has. That's we call it Aqidah. What to believe. It's from the word i'tiqad, i'taqada, he believed. Okay? Is it clear to you now? Yes. I don't like a questioner that gives me a question and while I'm giving him the answer, he's not with me. Can't be. So when you ask me a question, you have to be with me in order to give you the answer to the question. Barakallahu feekum. So we begin with question number 1 in the book. The question, لماذا خلقنا الله? Why Allah created us? And he put the answer, خلقنا الله لعبادته ولا نشرك به شيئا. Allah created us for worshipping Him, setting no partners with Him. والدليل قوله تعالى في سورة الذاريات وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. That's the evidence in Surah Al-Dhariyat, ayah number 56. I have not created jinn and mankind but to worship me. Now those two creatures, al-jinn and ins, are the tested creatures on earth. Jinn kind and mankind. The Prophet ﷺ passed by the grave and he said to his companions, لولا أن تدافنوا, يعني, if it's not the reason that you are burying one another, لأريتكم من عذاب القبر الذي أسمع. I would have been making you able to show you some of the punishment in the grave that I can hear. And he said, he was talking about the disbeliever, he would be hit by a hammer. That all creatures will be hearing that hammer hitting except jinn kind and mankind. Those two are the only one who will not be able to hear what's going on in the grave. Why? Because they will be tested by the unseen. We are tested by the unseen. We don't see Allah, but we believe in Him. We don't see the punishment in the grave, but we believe in it. So that means those two creatures are tested. The jinn are tested, whether they believe or not. Whether they fear Allah or they fear the devil. The jinn kind are tested. Not only us. You got the point? Good. And the Prophet ﷺ said, حق الله على العباد أن يعبدوه لا يشركون به شيئا لا يشركوا به شيئا. The right of Allah upon His servants, that's His right on them, that they worship Him, setting no partners with Him. Now the Prophet also said, the right of people on Allah, if they worshipped Him alone, that He will not be suffering them, punishing them. If they implement, fulfill the matter of Tawheed. And Tawheed is not only to avoid the worshipping of idols, but also to avoid the worshipping of life and what contains. There are people who do not worship idols, but they worship the pound and the dollar. Anything that becomes your highest target in this life, other than Allah, will become for you a god, a pagan. Because the utmost target in your life is Allah and His worship. Clear, inshallah? Are you hurt by the sun? Is it okay with you? You're not bothered by the sun? Okay. Ibn Abbas made a comment on this ayah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. He said, أي ليوحدون. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Ibn Abbas said what? How did he explain يعبدون? I want you to be with me. I just said it a while ago. From the sister's side, يوحد. MashaAllah. Sister's always ready. So be ready. Jazakallah khairan. Be with me. It's time for you to focus now with me. So you came here for a benefit. You did not come by force. You came for the sake of Allah to learn. And the way of knowledge is the way to paradise. Whoever took for himself a way by which he is seeking knowledge, Allah will facilitate a way for him to Jannah. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. So, there's a great reward, seeking knowledge. So, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Ibn Abbas said, لِيُوَحِّدُونَ. To worship me one alone. And the Prophet said, the right of Allah upon His servants, that they worship Him alone. But if you ask most of people, what is the meaning of La ilaha illallah? They will give you false explanations of La ilaha illallah. Or they may know its meaning, but they may not practice. Some people, they say La ilaha illallah means لا موجود إلا الله. لا رب إلا الله. That's not true. There is big difference between Lord, Rabb and God. Is there any ayah which says the following? رب السماوات والأرض. Is there any? Yes or no?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Is there any ayah like this? إله السماوات والأرض.
No.
Who told you? Do you memorize the Quran? Is there any إله السماوات والأرض?
No. Probably not. No.
Okay.
In the beginning of the ayah.
Definitely not. Not in the beginning. Definitely not. So why there isn't there is رب السماوات والأرض, but there isn't إله السماوات والأرض? Because ilah means to worship. And those creatures, they're not worshipping. They're not worship. They were not ordered to worship. So that's why, since the meaning of ilah is indicative to worship, that's why there isn't in the Quran ilahu samawati wal ard. But Rabbus samawati wal ard, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, the owner of the heavens and the earth, Rabb. Somebody may say to you, who's Rabb al-Manzil? Who is the Rabb of this house? Is this allowed to be said?
Yes.
Are you sure? Who said no? Rabbul A'ila, the Lord of the family, is it allowed? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Who said yes? Yes. You can say Rabbul Manzil, Rabbul A'ila, you can say it. Because it's talking about the owner of the car, the owner of the family, the Lord of the family. It is allowed. But to say Ilahul Bayt, Ilahul A'ila, no. So that means there's difference between Rabb and Ilah. Those who do not make distinction between the two, they will be in trouble. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ رَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهِ. If you ever ask them who is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, they will surely be saying to you, it is Allah. Who? Allah is telling the Prophet Muhammad about the pagans of Quraysh. If you ever ask them who's the Lord of the heavens and the earth, they will be saying it is Allah. So what's their problem? Their problem is they acknowledge that He is the Lord. And they may say also, yeah, He is our God, we can worship Him, but we can worship someone else also. So they have no problem in saying Allah is Rabbus Samawati wal Ard. But they have problem that you say there is only one God. That's why Allah quoted them saying, أَجَعَلَ الْآلِهَةَ إِلَهًا وَاحِدًا إِنَّ هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ عُجَابٌ. What about this prophet? This prophet had made the multi-gods only one. This is a really strange thing. In which surah is that? Surah Sad. أَجَعَلَ الْآلِهَةَ إِلَهًا وَاحِدًا إِنَّ هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ عُجَابٌ. Did He make the many gods only one? That's strange. But they believe that there is one creator for the whole universe. Quraysh did never believe that the creator of the world, there are many. The creator of the sun, the creator of the moon. No. They believed in one creator. But they were taking gods for their need, for their salvation. They asked them apart from Allah. This is the beginning. Right? He said, the author, فإنه نتيجة لبعد كثير من المسلمين عن ربهم. As a result, for the distancing of Muslims away from their Lord. وَجَهْلِهِمْ بِدِينِهِمْ, and because of their ignorance in their religion. How many people are ignorant in their religion? We shouldn't be like the kuffar, whom Allah said about them, يَعْلَمُونَ ظَاهِرًا مِنَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ عَنِ الْآخِرَةِ هُمْ غَافِلُونَ. They know ظاهرًا, they know the apparent issues of life, but concerning the hereafter, they're turning away from. They have no knowledge. فَقَدْ كَثُرَتْ فِيهِمُ الشِّرْكِيَّاتُ وَالْبِدَعُ. Because of their ignorance, shirk and bid'ah have been spreading among them. And among those aspects of shirk and ignorance, they believe in what they call the awliya. They ask them apart from Allah. They believe that they give them a benefit or give them harm, or they can remove the problems from them, difficulties, diseases, etc. So they glorified those dead awliya, and even they were making tawaf around their graves. Can you imagine? People are taking the grave of one of the righteous people as a place of tawaf. Just like our tawaf in Mecca. They do it around the graves. I saw that. The Shia do it, the Sufis do it. وَيَزْعُمُونَ أَنَّهُمْ بِذَلِكَ يَتَوَسَّلُونَ بِهِمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ. They claim that they're using them as wasila. Is wasila allowed? Yes or no? Seeking wasila.
No.
Yes or no? No. There is a legitimate wasila. Wasila that is allowed, tawassul allowed, and forbidden kind of tawassul. For example, if you ask Allah by the good action you do, for example, you say, oh Allah, I'm coming to the masjid, I'm going to pay 10 pounds, okay? And I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala solves my problem. Oh Allah, if you know that I paid this for your sake, I paid the money for the masjid for your sake, oh Allah, solve my problem that I'm facing. Can you do that?
No.
The answer is yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
Seeking tawassul by your own good actions is Allah permissible. Seeking tawassul by the supplication of someone who is present in front of you, or by the phone even nowadays. Okay? He's in front of you, or he's available with you on phone. You say to him, oh brother, he's in America for example. Oh brother, don't forget me from your dua. Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is allowed. He's not present in front of you, but he's available with you. You're hearing his voice. You may see him even on Skype. So this is allowed. That is allowed tawassul. The best tawassul is asking Allah by His beautiful names and attributes. Remember this, or write it down. The best tawassul is to make tawassul by Allah's names and attributes. The second tawassul, what is the evidence? Allah said, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. What? فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. To Allah belong the great, the most beautiful names. So ask Him by them, by His names. So that's the best tawassul. Ask Him by what? By His beautiful names and attributes. The second tawassul is to ask Allah tawassul through your good actions. Have you heard of the story of the three people who were stuck in a cave?
Oh, yeah.
What?
No, not Ashab al-Kahf. That's Ashab another Kahf. They were stuck And they said, yes. They said there is no more contact between you and the world. Khalas. So ask Allah by the best actions in another nation, the most sincere action that we do. Ask Allah by your good actions. One of them, he said, oh Allah, I used to be having parents, and I used to be, when I bring milk, I give it to them before giving my children. And once, oh Allah, I came, they were sleeping, I decided not to let my hungry children take from it until my parents, and they were sleeping, I found them sleeping, and I remained standing, waiting for them to wake up. I didn't want to bother them. I waited for them while my children are hungry and thirsty. Oh Allah, if you know that I have done this for your sake, help us or remove this rock away from us. So the rock was moving, but not enough. The other one, he said, oh Allah, you know well that I had an employee, the employee, a worker for you. And he was asking me his salary, but suddenly he left and he kept his small salary with me. And after many years, I invested it for him, and suddenly he came after a couple of years, and he said to me, do you remember that small salary you were supposed to be giving me and you did not give me? He said, yes. He said, give it to me. So he said to him, do you see all of this big farm, all of those sheep there, camels, horses? He said, yes. Cows? He said, yes. He said, those all are yours. He said to him, oh, wait a minute. Oh, servant of Allah, are you okay? This is more than my salary. He said, yes, I know. I've been investing your salary until it became like this. Wow. Then he said, oh Allah, if you know that I've done it for your sake, help us and remove the rock away from us. Then the rock was, for the second time, moved, but it's not enough for them to remove it completely. The third one is the one who had a cousin. He wanted to marry her. She was refusing. And once he wanted to do, he was inviting for something haram, which Allah made haram. And she was hungry. She was pressed. She got nothing, no income, until she complied to him. And when he was about to do something haram, she said, oh servant of Allah, fear Allah, and do not break the seal, except by what due rights. Fear Allah. Then he stood up like this. He was shaking, he was sweating, he was afraid from the words she reminded him. He gave her the money and said, you go, the money is yours. Oh Allah, if you know that what stopped me is fearing you, release from us this rock. The rock was moved again for the third time, and they were able to go. So they were asking Allah by what? By their best deeds. So the first tawassul is by Allah's names and attributes. Second, by your good actions. What else? By the supplication of a present, alive, righteous person. Okay? This is Allah. But what happened nowadays is that people are going to the graves, they put money, and this money will be going not to the person of the grave, but it will be going to those akalatus suht, the eaters of haram. They wait until those miskeen, simple people, those people throw their money and they go. But those wolves, they come at the end of the day, taking the money, using it for themselves. Okay? Like, he's saying if those people, ignorant people, they returned to the Quran and the Sunnah and they understood what the Prophet was revealed about, they would never be doing this. And they would be knowing the true kind of tawassul. So how many good legitimate tawassul we have? Three. Okay. Asking Allah by His names and attributes. Good deeds. Supplication of a person who is alive and present. Okay? Is there anything else? I don't remember. No, I don't think so. The author says, if you warn them and you say to them, you shouldn't be doing this, and this is shirk, it's haram, they will be saying to you, we know that it is Allah only who benefits and harms. We know that. But we have taken those people as wasila for us. And we think that Allah had given them the power to hear us, to hear our calls, to listen to us. Now how can you refute that, please? I want you to give me an answer to this. What is the answer to that? I will repeat, but I'm getting tired. You have to be with me from the first time. Okay? Barakallah feek. If you tell people that you should not be asking the dead awliya, number one, how do I know that they're awliya? No, we have no knowledge. You cannot praise yourself. You cannot say, mashallah, I'm good, alhamdulillah. You can't. Because Allah said, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not allege, claim that you have the purity, you are purified already. Don't make that claim. هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. It is only Him who knows well who is the really God-fearing one. Okay? Like, so they say we just use those people, awliya, salihin, as an approach for us. We approach them and they address our need to Allah. There is no via in a matter of worship. VIA. There is no VIA. In terms of, in regards to the worship between you and Allah, there is no via. There's no VIA. No. And it is extremely delightful that you address and approach Allah directly. Okay? Once I was in the airport and I saw a nun. You know the nun? What is a nun? Female monk. Priest. And I was saying to her, if I want to repent as a Christian, where do I go? She said, you go to the priest. I said, if the priest committed a mistake, where does he go? She said, he goes to another priest. And I said, if the another priest made a mistake, he sinned, where does he go? She said, to another priest. And she kept like this with me, and I said, wait a minute, I'm going to lose my airplane. So please. The last priest, if he sinned, where does he go? She said, he goes to the Pope. I said, if the Pope made a sin, where does he go? She said, he goes to God directly. I said, why didn't you let the other priests and the other people go to God directly? Why? The Pope is the only one that can address Allah directly, while the other people should not address Allah directly. See, this is similar ideology of Christianity. When you do not go to Allah directly, but you have to go to other people, except by what Allah allowed, and that is someone whom you expect to be, mashallah, a good, righteous person, and he is present, alive. Here, inshallah. He's saying that وَهَذِهِ الْحُجَّةِ تُشَابِهُ حُجَّةَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. This justification they give, that, you know, we address them and they address Allah for us. He said this is the same justification of the mushrikeen before. That's what they say. No. He said لأن مشركي قريش, because of the mushrik people of Quraysh, كانوا يقرون ويعترفون, they used to be admitting, confessing بأن الله هو الخالق, that Allah is the only creator. He is the sustainer. He is the manager. And the evidence on that is this. وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَقُولُونَ اللَّهُ. If you ever ask them, who created the heavens and the earth, they'll be surely saying to you, it is Allah. I like this ayah, and I want you to listen to it. If you ever ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they'll be saying to you, it is Allah for sure. Right? Then Allah says to them, قُلْ أَفَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَرَادَ قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ مَا تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Do you see those whom you invoke, call, ask, apart from Allah? إِنْ أَرَادَنِيَ اللَّهُ بِضُرٍّ. If Allah intended to make a harm for me, هَلْ هُنَّ كَاشِفَاتُ ضُرِّهِ. Can they cure me? Can they clear me? Can they avoid me the harm that Allah wanted for me? Or if Allah intended me with benefit, can they stop it from me? قُلْ حَسْبِيَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ يَتَوَكَّلُ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. Say, Allah is sufficient for me. It's enough for me. On Him they should depend, those who trust Allah. Those who trust Allah, they should be depending on Him only. It's beautiful ayah. He said, that means the mushrikeen before used to be confessing that Allah is the only creator of things, all things. But despite that, they worship with Him someone else. Are you with me? Allah said, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِحَاكِمٍ طيب صحيح. But there's another ayah. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدَهُ. Isn't Allah sufficient for His servant? Is He sufficient or not? So that means they used to be confessing that Allah is the only creator of things. Despite that, they worship someone with Him, someone who does not offer them any harm nor benefit. That's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us this beautiful, marvelous hadith. احفظ الله احفظ الله احفظ الله what? يحفظك. احفظ الله يحفظك. احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. Be observative in Allah regarding Allah's observation upon you. احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. Be mindful to Allah. you'll find Allah with you, in front of you, regarding any need you have. إذا سألت فاسأل عبد القادر الجيلاني. Is that correct? If you ever ask Allah alone. إذا سألت فاسأل الله. وإذا استعنت, and if you seek help, your colleague, hello, your friend, your desk mate. Assalamu alaikum. Are you okay? You're a bit tired, huh? You're a bit tired? Okay. Watch. Now. Hey. Okay, the ayah that was inshallah. Now,
You don't mind asking what question I got?
the first question.
Everyone go to the first question.
Surah Al-Zumar, Surah number 39, ayah number 38. إن أرادني الله بضر هل هن كاشفات ضره أو أرادني برحمة هل هن ممسكات رحمته قل حسبي الله عليه يتوكل المتوكلون. طيب. Now. So I want you to memorize this hadith with me. Do you remember it or not? احفظ الله يحفظك. احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. Be mindful to Allah, you'll find Him in front of you. That means for your need, for everything. إذا سألت إذا سألت فاسأل الله. If you ever ask Allah alone. وإذا استعنت فاستعن بالله. And if you ever seek help from Allah alone. واعلم أن الأمة لو اجتمعت على أن يضروك, know well that if all the ummah will be gathering to harm you, لم يضروك إلا بشيء قد كتبه الله عليك. If they will not be able to harm you except the harm that Allah had destined on you. طيب.
أنس سوي والله لايف what time did you see
Are you okay now? I am just ignoring some passages because it's long. But I'm coming to this ayah. I want you to understand that everyone who is created, we should not be asking him. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ عِبَادٌ أَمْثَالُكُمْ. Those whom you supplicate apart from Allah, they are servants the like of you. فَدْعُوهُمْ. Go ahead. Call them. فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And let them answer your call if you are telling the truth. There is no one that asks a dead person that he knows that the dead person did not see him, did not come to him, did not give him the need. And Allah said in another ayah, وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ. Be with me please. وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنْ يَدْعُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Who is more misguided? Brother, no. Turn to me. Go. Don't waste the time. Please, brother. Yeah, it really harms me that I can see still until now, until this moment, I I see people playing together. Come on. It is, you know, by this you are depriving people from benefit. You'll be making a sin. Don't do that. Barakallahu feekum. We are respecting you. We're respecting you, brothers, but please. Listen to this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-A'raf, Surah number 7, ayah number 194. I want you to listen to this, write the reference down, keep it in your mind, please. This is Majlis of Ilm. Surah Al-A'raf, Surah number 7, ayah number 194, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, those whom you invoke, you call, apart from Allah, they are servants like you. They are servants like you.
Those who you call /
So call them and let them answer your call if you're telling the truth. So that means if there are people like us, we should not be asking them. Except what? In what they are able normally with. And that is, if they are available, if they are alive, present, yes. The other ayah, which is also very important, and I want you always to remember it, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنْ يَدْعُو مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَنْ لَا يَسْتَجِيبُ لَهُ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. And who is more misguided than the one who keeps calling those who will never respond to him until the day of judgment. وَهُمْ عَنْ دُعَائِهِمْ غَافِلُونَ. Look what Allah said. And they are heedless. They are unaware of the supplication addressed to them. They don't know. They are in the grave. They're dead. وَهُمْ عَنْ دُعَائِهِمْ غَافِلُونَ. وَإِذَا حُشِرَ النَّاسُ, and when people will be gathered, كَانُوا لَهُمْ أَعْدَاءً, they will be enemies to them. وَكَانُوا بِعِبَادَتِهِمْ كَافِرِينَ. And they will be denying their worship to them. Look, the ayah began with what? يَدْعُو. Look, the ayah ended with what? بِعِبَادَتِهِمْ. We still say that dua is ibadah. And Allah keeps doing this. قُلْ إِنِّي نُهِيتُ أَنْ أَعْبُدَ الَّذِينَ تدعون ولا تعبدون؟ قل إني نهيت أن أعبد الذين تدعون من دونه. أحسنت أخوات. أن أعبد الذين تدعون. أعبد تدعون. So what was the type of ibadah at the time of Jahiliyyah? Tell me now. What? What? The worship of calling the dead. The worship of what? Calling the dead. Who was the first mushriks on earth? No. No, the Shia are not. The first, Adam was the first mushrik. Who? I want to know. I'm talking about mankind. I'm talking about mankind. Sister's side, they don't know? Sisters, who was the first mushrik on earth? Huh?
No.
The people of Nuh. وقالوا لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا. Ibn Abbas said, those are the names of righteous people. When they died, people were so sad for their death. And they made images for them. And time by time they started to worship the images. Okay? Time by time they started to. That's why in Islam is so strict against any kind of images. Even images in the house. Many people, a lot of Muslims, they put the images. He's happy with his grandmother or his beautiful daughter or etc., his son, and they put their pictures. And the pictures, they have a bad thing. What is the bad thing with having pictures in the house?
It prevents
Angels what?
angels.
Angels will not enter. Because of pictures and dogs. There shouldn't be images or dogs in the house. Okay? If you put big pictures for your grandfather, your grandmother, watch out at night. The eyes of the picture may move. Right and left. Allah. So you should not be displaying any picture. So what is the benefit of having the angels in the house? Protect us from shaitan, from the devil. So if you bring a picture and put it inside the house, you're making it bad against yourself.
What about family pictures?
We don't want to open the topic about picturing, please. What about what? Well, the scholar said that if this is used for da'wah, it doesn't have the same. Because also you can use the video for paganism, for videoing someone who people worship and encourage this. So if this is being done for the sake of da'wah, hopefully inshallah there's nothing wrong with it. That's what scholars said. Okay? Yes?
What about family pictures?
I don't like it.
It's the same.
I don't like it.
Is it halal?
No.
I don't like it. I'm not going to say it's haram totally, but people like Sheikh Albani, rahimahullah, he said, according to the hadith, no way. And that's why it's related in Bukhari, that Ibn Abbas was asked about the matter of drawing. He said, if you want to draw, and there is no way but to draw something that has no spirit. So don't risk yourself for something which is not really important, because you may be asked at the day of judgment, as Allah, the Prophet said, that those musawwirun, they will be gathered as the worst kinds of people at the day of judgment, and it will be said to them, give life to what you created. Give life to what you created. There's another ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Al-Isra, Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 56, قُلِ ادْعُوا الَّذِينَ زَعَمْتُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ فَلَا يَمْلِكُونَ كَشْفَ الضُّرِّ عَنكُمْ وَلَا تَحْوِيلًا أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ يَبْتَغُونَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمُ Allah yahdikum. Al-Isra, ayah number 56. Al-Isra, number 56. This ayah is very important. Listen to it carefully. Allah is saying, say, Yalla, go ahead. Keep invoking, calling those whom you claim depart from Allah. They owe for you nothing, not even what has the same similar weight of an atom. They will not be owing this for you. Oh, this is in Surah Saba. I'm so sorry. Saba number 22. لا يملكون مثقال ذرة في السماوات, neither in the heaven nor in the earth. وما لهم فيهما من شرك, and they have nothing of a partnership in the heavens and the earth. وَمَا لَهُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ ظَهِيرٍ, and Allah has no support among them. And He has no support apart from Allah by them. Listen to this. A person may say, they may owe something with Allah, then Allah said, لا يملكون. So Allah rebutted this. No. No one can owe anything with Allah. They owe nothing. Like, they may say, we are taking them as partners. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا لَهُمْ فِيهِمَا مِنْ شِرْكٍ. There is no partnership with Allah. They may say, we are using them to support us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا لَهُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ ظَهِيرٍ. There is no support of them. Then the final thing, he said, they may say, alright, shafa'ah. Then Allah said, وَلَا تَنْفَعُ الشَّفَاعَةُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا لِمَنْ أَذِنَ لَهُ. Do you like to have shafa'ah at the day of judgment? Do you like shafa'ah? What would be shuckling the person from shafa'ah? You know, there are some people who even say La ilaha illallah, but when it comes to the matter of shafa'ah, it will be said no. Who are those? Yes? Oh, what is shafa'ah? Mediation. Like, for example, I'll give you an example to symbolize it for you. Okay? Please, Habib, please. Don't waste our time. Barakallah feek. Barakallah feek. For example, there's a king. Okay? There is a king. And you cannot go to that king directly. You may ask someone who knows the king to raise, to give you a need through him from the king. So we call this shafa'ah. But this kind of shafa'ah doesn't go like that with Rabbul Alameen. No. Why? Because the king may know nothing about you until someone tells him about you. But that doesn't go with God. Allah knows everything, Allah knows everyone. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set people of honor for their honorable kind of work. Like the Tawheed of Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ was granted the shafa'ah. What is shafa'ah? For example, if people deserve to go to hellfire, the Prophet, and they are muwahhid, they're not mushrik. Okay? There are people who deserve to enter hell, the Prophet will give shafa'ah not to enter. There are people who entered already hellfire, and the Prophet will give shafa'ah. Okay? The Prophet will give shafa'ah for them to be ousted from hellfire. There are people whom their sins and good deeds are equal. So the Prophet will give shafa'ah for them, that by Allah's mercy, Allah will let their good rewards be higher, greater than their bad deeds. That's how it goes. Not only the Prophet, there are many people who can give shafa'ah. Such as the shaheed. The shaheed can give shafa'ah for 70 of his family. As-siyam, fasting, can be shafi'ah for you. The Quran can be shafi'ah for you. Okay? This is the matter of what? Shafa'ah. Shafa'ah is not forbidden in Islam, no. But it's for those who are muwahhid only. What's muwahhid? Muwahhid, who is purely worshipping Allah. He got not involved in partners in his worship with Allah. Clear? Very good. Now, why I mentioned the case of the people of Nuh. The Prophet ﷺ said, between Adam and Nuh, people never knew something called shirk. No shirk took place. For 10 generations, For 10 generations. Be with me, brother, huh? Be with me. Okay? Be with me. For 10 generations, no shirk took place on earth. But it started at the time of Nuh. Nuh lived how many years?
950.
950 exactly. He lived that long time. During his lifetime, there are good people who died. And other people, they were sad for their death.
Right.
The devil came to them and said, why don't you draw them, their pictures, their images? You know, they draw them going like this. You know, until today we can see that some great people, so-called great people, they video them or they picture them while they're going like this. So they drew their images, and time by time, Shaitan told the next generation that the previous generation, your dad, your father, they used to be worshiping them. So why don't you worship them? So, do you allow idol worship? No. The answer is no. But what is the source of the idol? Shaitan, source of every evil. What? What is the source of those images? Dead people. Shirk took place because of the dead people. And many people don't know that. They think that, oh, alhamdulillah, we're not taking idols. Alhamdulillah, we are muwahhid. No. Some of those people who say muwahhid, they go to the grave and they ask the dead people. In fact, those are repeating the same sin of the people of Noor. That is why, and I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to pay attention to this, and I'll give you the quotation, the reference. Sorry. It's very important. When they said, لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا. Who are those six? Huh? These are righteous people. They used to be alive at the lifetime of Nuh. When they died, people got sad for their death. And they start to worship them by what? By asking them to let them get closer. Asking Allah to drive them closer to Him. That's why Ibn Hajar said, I want you to remember this. This is very important. You know those people of bid'ah, they are learning. But we don't learn seriously. We should be learning seriously. Ibn Hajar said, وَقِصَّةُ الصَّالِحِينَ, and the issue of the righteous people, كانت مبتدأ عبادة قوم نوح لهذه الأصنام. And the issue of the good people, the issue of the good dead people, was the beginning of the shirk at the lifetime of Nuh. So by this you can tell, come on, brother. By this we can tell, you can understand, that the shirk is the shirk of the dead people in fact. We should be learning. That is why, now I want you to listen to this. Is visiting the graves allowed or not?
Allowed.
Is it allowed? Tell me again. Is it allowed?
Yes.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Of course it is.
Was it allowed? That's a good question. And this is going to be one of the questions that I'm going to ask you about. Again, is visiting the graves allowed?
Yes.
Was the visiting of the graves allowed?
Yes.
No. The Prophet ﷺ said, كنت قد نهيتكم عن زيارة القبور. Before I used to forbid on you the visiting of the graves. ألا فزوروها. Now you can visit the graves. فإنها تذكر الآخرة, because it reminds about the hereafter. It reminds you about the hereafter. But some people go like a mother going to the grave of her son, and she keeps speaking to him. Oh, my son, what do you like me to cook for you today? He's in the grave. She speaks to him emotionally.
What she do? What she gets illness from? She sometimes she just does that. She's sick.
Some women emotionally behave something, sometimes emotionally ignorantly. Yeah. So, the Prophet said, I used to forbid on you the visiting of the graves, but now, go ahead and visit the graves. Why the Prophet said it is allowed after it was not allowed? Yes.
It reminds the people of the hereafter.
It reminds, but in the time of Jahiliyyah, it does not remind about the hereafter anymore. It became the source of shirk. Because people go to the graves and speak to the dead. They go to the grave and ask shafa'ah, ask the dead people to make shafa'ah for them to Allah. That's why the early time of Islam, visiting graves was not allowed. But suddenly, when the Muslims had the correct understanding of their Aqeedah, khalas, there is no problem. Now you can visit the graves. Did you get the point, brothers?
Yes.
Very good. Oh, where did Ibn Hajar say this? The issue of the righteous people was the beginning point, the beginning worship of the people of Nuh to these idols. He said that in his book Fath al-Bari, volume 8, page 668. Volume 8, page 668. Okay. Now we come to the second issue. What time is it now? 3:30. What are the conditions of ibadah? Huh? The conditions of ibadah? To worship Allah alone, setting no partners with Him. Okay. What are the conditions of La ilaha illallah? What are the conditions of La ilaha illallah? Huh?
And say with your mouth and to accept with your heart.
Number one, knowing La ilaha illallah, not only saying La ilaha illallah, but at the same time you don't know its meaning. That's not good. People, if they did not know the meaning of La ilaha illallah, people, if they did not know the ignorance, the jahiliyyah before, they may fall in the same jahiliyyah at the same time, thinking that he's okay, he's not mushrik. You have to know what was jahiliyyah, what was shirk. By that also, that helps you to know what is the tawheed. So you will not be falling in what they fell in. So the first condition of La ilaha illallah is al-ilm al-munafi lil-jahl. Al-ilm that negates ignorance. That's the first condition. I'll repeat look, I'm going to repeat my question. At any moment, I may ask you to repeat what I've been saying. You have to be very careful. What is the first condition of La ilaha illallah, brother there? Brother there. Yes. Like someone else, yes? The knowledge that negates ignorance. So knowledge, knowing. What's the evidence? Allah the Almighty said, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. فَاعْلَمْ, you should know. So knowledge is the first condition of La ilaha illallah. جيد. Second, yaqeen. What's the meaning of yaqeen? Believe. Is it only belief? Huh?
And intention.
Sister side? Certitude. No, not sincerity, no. Certainty, yes. Certainty. It's not only belief, but you are certain, fully certain. Who said intention? No. Certainty. You have no doubt. You have no doubt at all in La ilaha illallah. Now, who says certainty? Sincerity. Sincerity is number 3. So the first is knowledge. First is the knowledge. Second is yaqeen. Second is yaqeen. Third is ikhlas. You know, when the person is mukhlis, he becomes truthful. Listen to this. Sincerity is the mother. The mother begets a child called truthfulness. Listen to this carefully. If a person is sincere, he will be truthful. Sincerity will be cleansing from him any kind of hypocrisy or shirk or riya, because he's sincere to Allah. Okay. The fourth is as-sidq. Al-munafi lil-kadhib. Can anyone tell me the 4 conditions that we mentioned now?
3.
No, there are 4. Sorry. No, there are 4. From the sister's side. الأول العلم اليقين الإخلاص الصدق. علم يقين إخلاص صدق. Number 5. Al-Qabul. You should accept it. You should accept La ilaha illallah. When you say La ilaha illallah, that means you have to accept what it means. You have to accept its conditions. Number 6. Al-Inqiyad. Do you know the meaning of Al-Inqiyad? Submission. Inqiyad. Obedience. Submissiveness. You are totally submissive. Very good, mashallah. Al-Qabul al-Munafi lil-Radd. The acceptance of La ilaha illallah. Because there are people who refuse. Who is one of those well-known refusers of La ilaha illallah? No, at the lifetime of the Prophet. Abu Talib. When Prophet said, alayhi salatu قُلْ يَا عَمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ, once only, and I will be using this to argue with Allah for your favor. Please, just say it. But there was a shaitan standing beside Abu Talib at the same moment. Are you going to give up the religion of your father and mother? What will you be saying to your parents at the day of judgment when you meet them, when you follow other religion than their religion? No, I'm telling what the devil says to them. Okay? I'm telling what the devil says. Yeah. Your parents were Catholics. You should be Catholic. Be righteous to your parents. Be obedient. How come? And some people may, for example, his mother may say to him, oh, don't be Muslim, be careful. He will be meeting with Allah the day of judgment. Why didn't you become Muslim? Oh my God, my mother said to me, don't be Muslim. Why did you obey her? وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم. If they ordered you to set up partners with me, such a thing that you have no knowledge about, فلا تطعهما, do not obey them. وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا, and keep in companionship with them as a matter of righteousness. طيب. So the seventh one is the acceptance of La ilaha illallah, which negates the rejection. Acceptance that negate the rejection. The last one is وَالْكُفْرُ بِمَا يُعْبَدُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, to disbelieve in what people worship apart from Allah. Who can mention them now? All of them.
Knowledge,
Knowledge,
certainty,
certainty,
sincerity,
sincerity,
truthfulness,
truthfulness. No, there's one before it. Ikhlas.
sincerity,
Oh, sorry, did you mention it? I'm so sorry. Okay.
truthfulness,
But wait, I missed the number. First, knowledge, right?
yes,
Second,
certainty,
yaqeen, certainty.
and sincerity,
Sincerity is the third.
and truthfulness,
Truthfulness is the fourth.
and acceptance,
Acceptance,
and then submission,
submission to it.
and then to disbelieve in anything except one.
You missed one.
Accepting it,
Acceptance.
In Allah.
accepting it,
Oh, is it?
accepting it. Number 8, al-kufru bima yu'badu min dunillah, to be disbeliever in what people worship apart from Allah. To disbelieve. That's why we, in our shahada testimony, we begin with the negation. La ilaha. We begin with negation. No God. And then affirmation. Illallah. We don't say ilahun wahid. No. Because la ilaha illa, it has more emphasis to precede the affirmation that Allah is my God. It should be preceded by there is no other God but Allah. And that is more emphasizing. It's a stronger term than saying there is one God. No, but you're making it stronger than that by saying there is no God that ever deserves to be worshipped except Allah. So there are 8, right? Can anyone from the sister's side mention the 8 conditions, please? Or you did not write them? Al-ilm, al-yaqeen, al-ikhlas, al-sidq, al-qabul. ليس القبول, القبول. القبول, الانقياد, Wait. There is something here, yes. Number 5 is saying al-qabul al-munafi lil-bughd. That means accepting it, which is against the hating of it. That's number 5. Number 6, submissiveness, which negates leaving it. So submissiveness. Okay? And inqiyad. To be submissive to Allah, complying to Allah. That means you respond to Allah. Do this, don't do that. You say, I am ready, Allah, I submit. And then the number 7, al-qabul al-munafi lil-radd. The acceptance of it, which negates what? Rejecting it. Then the last one, The sister's side, the last one. Ahsantum barakallah. To disbelieve anything that is being worshipped beside Allah or apart from Allah. Once I was in Australia, and there was an exhibition. That's funny. I saw a man. They glorify him. They worship him. His hair is very curly like this. Like that. And I felt pity for him. If I had a razor, I would borrow him a razor to do something to his hair. I guarantee that there is no comb that can resist that kind of hair, but it will be broken. His hair is like this, very, very much curly. So they put a film about him. They have a corner in the exhibition, and they said that this is God. What did they say? He is what?
Asleep.
Halas. He's in the moon now. Are you okay now? Assalamu alaikum. That's not in the dream. You can see me now? Very good. Okay. So I was saying to them, who's that guy? They said he is God. His name is Sayyid Baba. I used to call him Sayyid Baba. Okay? So I said to them, is this God? They said, yes. I said, my God is so beautiful, but this man is ugly. That cannot be my God. He looks ugly. And they were threatening me, if you keep saying this, we'll throw you out. Okay? But I had to say it. I couldn't stand it. How can such person, they say, he is God? Yeah. So you should, before affirming Allah, you should be denying anyone that has any kind of share. Not in the matter of ownership, but in the matter of divinity and worship. Is this enough for you today, or you want more? 15 minutes. Well, let's go to the second question. I wish I did not ask you the question. Please. We want you to be respecting the atmosphere. It's really humiliating. It's disrespect that someone needs to say shh so you can be quiet. It's disrespectful, but sometimes you have to do it. You should be quiet, okay? Jazakallah khairan. Second question is, what is the meaning of al-ibadah? How can we define ibadah?
Things I love that Allah. Things I love that Allah.
Things that I love, that Allah loves. This is a part of it. Yes, everything. All kinds of worship are beloved by Allah, for sure. Yes? Ibn Taymiyyah said, he gave a definition, and I wanted to translate it to you, inshallah. هو اسم جامع, a collective name. Ibadah is a collective name. It collects, it combines all. Who said what Allah loves? You're a good man. I respect you for that. Because the definition of Ibn Taymiyyah says, it is a collective, comprehensive name that contains. No, not him, you. Be careful, brother. Barakallah feekum. Barakallah feekum, please help me. I want you to help me, okay? To give you the best. Barakallah feekum. Okay. So, it is a comprehensive name that consists all what Allah loves and what Allah is pleased with all kinds of sayings and actions, apparently and secretly, of actions. All the actions that Allah is approving and He is pleased by. Like dua, like salah, like dabh. Like dua, supplicating Allah, salah, praying to Allah, dabh, slaying for the cause of Allah. I myself had an incident with someone who is demon possessed. Demon possessed. And when I was trying to read Quran on that boy, and he was a boy, he was just like your age. He's a young boy. Whenever I read Quran, he says, stop, I don't want to hear Quran. Then, the person said to me, the devil is telling me now that if you want me to leave that person, I can leave him with one condition, that you slay a sheep for me, for the devil. And don't mention my name on it, no. And give it to the poor and the needy people. Even if we do not mention the name of that devil on this sheep, the occasion is for him. And that's why I said, no way. No way. I will not allow that. So, Ibadah is a collective, comprehensive name that contains all your actions of worship to Allah, such as supplicating Allah, praying to Allah, and slaying for the sake of Allah. What is the ayah I've been mentioning today that Ibrahim said? Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alamin. Even your breath should be for the sake of Allah. While you're sitting, you keep saying Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah. While you're walking, you're remembering Allah. Everything in your life belongs to Allah. Question number 3. How do we worship Allah? That's very important. How do we worship Allah? Yes. There's no one. Yes.
The way that the Quran
Huh?
the way that the Quran told us to be.
And the
I
Prophet.
can see you having papers. Different sheet and it's okay. I don't blame you. Very good. Okay. Yes. How worshipping Allah? It should be copying how the Prophet worships Allah. The Prophet said, pray as you see. Listen to this. Pray as you see me praying. Okay. Also about the Hajj, he said what? حجوا كما رأيتموني أحج. Let your pilgrimage perform the similar pilgrimage that you see me performing. So the Prophet is saying, also he said, خذوا مناسككم عني. Take the details of your rites in Hajj from me. In matter of prayer, pray as you see me praying. The Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ati'u Allah wa rasulah. O you who have believed, obey Allah and His Messenger. So the obedience of Allah and His Messenger is obligatory. And the way you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the book of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the source of your worship. Nothing more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَابْتَدِعُوا. Did he say that? If you love Allah, then make bid'ah. Is that right? Yes or no? No. What did he say? قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you love Allah, then follow me, obey me, follow me. So what will happen if you obey the Prophet ﷺ? If you love me, then obey the Messenger. What will happen then? يحببكم الله. جزاكم الله خيرا. يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. Say, if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will then will be loving you and forgiving your sins. So 2 bonuses you will get after obeying the Prophet ﷺ. That you'll be beloved by Allah and forgiven by Allah. 2 bonuses you get by being obedient to Rasulullah. What are they? 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 Be with me, please. Habibi, please. You will be.
You'll be.
Come, brother. Listen, come. Yes. Can you sit down here, please? Barakallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Sorry to do that, but you, mashallah, you've been drinking, what do you call that, Red Bull?
Alcohol.
No, not alcohol. Who said alcohol? Say astaghfirullah. Say astaghfirullah. Come on. Please.
Too much coffee.
So, Allah is saying, if you love Allah, then obey me. Allah then will love you and what? Forgive your sins. 2 great things that you will be granted by obeying this Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The last question. Or should we make them 5 questions? Only 5 questions. Okay? No, they are very little. Number 3. Number 3 we have mentioned already. Number 4. هل نعبد الله خوفا وطمعا? Do we worship Allah fearing and hoping or not?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
You have to know that the worship of Allah is just like the 2 wings that a bird flies. Listen to this. The matter of worshipping Allah is just like the bird flying. Can the bird fly by 1 wing? If he has 1 wing only.
No balance.
No balance. Son. So we need, the bird needs what? And in our matter of worship, we can achieve that worship by what? By those 2 wings of worship. What are the 2 wings of worship? Fear and hope. I have to set you behave. Okay? What are the 2 factors of worship? Worship is based on 2 things I've been mentioning. What? No, wait. What? Look at me. Not at them. What? Don't make comments, please. See, listen, brother. I want to do to benefit Barakallah. Okay? So I'm going to repeat especially for you, but next time please be attentive. I'm having only 2-3 minutes and then we finish. So try to focus. Okay? Okay. What are the 2 factors of worship? 2 pillars of worship? Fear and hope. You know, imagine if you fear but you don't hope. Please. Imagine if you fear Allah but you don't hope. What's going to happen? Huh? Not crazy, no. No.
There's too
What
harsh,
will
you're
happen?
too harsh on yourself. You're too harsh on yourself.
I didn't understand what the brother saying. What?
You're being too harsh on yourself.
Close.
Is it like
You will be despaired. If you keep fearing without hope, you will despair Allah's mercy. You say, oh, Allah. You keep fearing. But imagine if you hope but you don't fear, what's going to happen? Huh? You'll be saying, it's okay. Yeah.
unbalanced?
You'll be worshipping, but, oh, I guarantee that Allah will not punish you. No.
Innovation.
Well, this is innovation, yes. This is imbalanced kind of worship. Okay? That is to fear Him but not to hope Him. Or to hope Him but not to fear Him. This will be a great imbalancement in the worship, and the worship will not be taking place. Unless 2 are together, gathered in your worship, fearing and hoping. تتجافى جنوبهم عن المضاجع يدعون ربهم خوفا وطمعا ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. They worship Allah, they supplicate Allah, worship Allah with fear and hope. When we should be overwhelming the hope more than the fear? Tell me where. Where? You know, usually we should be reminding the person about fearing Allah more than hoping Allah. Fearing more than hope. In what circumstance? Yes, sir.
When the person is departing from this world to Akhirah, then he will have more hope.
Fear. I'm saying fear.
Fear. I thought you were talking about the hope.
Fear. Did we start with fear?
Yeah, you said hope.
Yes.
Hope.
Oh, did I mean? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, correct. When a person is dying, khalas, you should not be reminding him about fearing Allah and working. There's no more working with him. He's dying. So the best thing is to link him with hope. Don't worry, Allah is forgiving. Because you don't want him to die while he is despaired of Allah. Because the Prophet ordered us not to die only except while we have a good thought in Allah. Huh? None of you should be dying unless he has good thought of Allah. Okay? But we exceed the fear more when a person says, when you say to him, oh come on, pray. It's okay. Don't worry, Allah forgave me. I guarantee paradise, don't worry about me. Or, Ya Allah, He'll forgive me, inshallah. You think that Allah will be punishing me? No. Just like the one who said, وَلَئِنْ رُدِدْتُ إِلَى رَبِّي لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا مُنْقَلَبًا. Or وَلَئِنْ رُجِعْتُ إِلَى رَبِّي إِنَّ لِي عِنْدَهُ لَلْحُسْنَى. If I'll be returned to Allah, I'll be granted favors by Allah for me at the day of judgment. Who told you? This ayah shows you how people give themselves promises, nonsense promises. So, When a person is alive and we see him turning away from faith, we have to multiply the reminders of fear to him. But when a person is on the bed of death, no. Now we exceed what? We exceed and precede the hope. Barakallah feek. Number 5. Number 5, ما هو الإحسان في العبادة؟ الإحسان was explained by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه, that you worship Allah as if you see Him. But if you do not see Him, you can see Him. It's okay, it's okay. He made a mistake. May Allah forgive him. Okay? This is al-ihsan. But, listen to this. Al-ihsan, to be doing the thing accurately. Al-ihsan. Allah wants us to improve our worship. Look, the Prophet told his Mu'adh, before he told him, he said to him, "O Mu'adh, Wallahi, I love you." He said to Mu'adh what? Wallahi, I love you. Do not forget to keep saying this dua before you finish your prayer. Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika. Where's that child? Oh, that's you. Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika husni ibadatik. The hadith says, "Oh Allah, help me. Help me what? In terms of what? Remembering you, being thankful to you, and not worshipping you only. No. Enhancing my worship to you. Enhancing, Ya Allah." Should we add you to the... You want to add you? Oh Allah, help me, remembering you, being thankful to you, and to improve my worship to you. So if someone corrected you in your worship, don't be angry, because you yourselves keep asking Allah to help you enhancing, improving your worship to Him. So by this you should be improving your worship, making the worship accurately done, because Allah loves that you do everything accurately. Even the way you slaughter the animal in Eid al-Adha, for example. The Prophet said, you should be sharpening your knife and relaxing your sheep, the animal you want to slaughter. Relaxing. Not to have unsharp knife and you're not expert and you keep and the sheep is suffering, waiting for you to kill her, because she cannot commit suicide, and you're torturing this poor animal because your knife is not sharp and you're not expert. You're torturing. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay." He said Allah had ordained ihsan. What is ihsan? To do the thing on the best way, including your salah, including your worship. Why? The Prophet taught you a dua to say, Allahumma a'inni. Can anyone repeat it? Can anyone repeat it? Can you repeat it, please? And you'll be next after him. Yes? Huh?
How does it start?
Allahumma a'inni ala thank you. Can you say it? Allahumma a'inni. You need to memorize it. You know why, brothers? Because because the Prophet preferred for us repeating this dua before we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Keep always making that dua. So try to remember it, please. Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. That's enough for today, inshallah.
Whenever you say
قاعد كذا يحسوا
Our Shaykh is reminding us that whenever we mention we mention the name of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have to say sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Is it recording? Is it recording?